and foremost, I want to say thank you for joining us here at West Empower. It's extremely exciting that you are our last candidate guest to come here in the month of March, Women's Month, and to educate us on the importance of what's going on in front of us here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with our elections. And you're running for the Court of Common Pleas. We want to pick your mind, your brain on that and how's that going, and just get to talk to you and hear more about who you are and what your visions are for when you get on that bench.
Thank you. And let me first congratulate you on what you do, and you're doing it, girl. You're doing something a little different out here. It's really awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
I really, it's very exciting. Like every time, because you hear something different, and we learn something different every single time. So that's the blessing in it all. So, and if you don't have any questions or anything, we can get started. I am recording. So if you don't have any questions, we can get started.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay, so of course, like I had first, introduced you, Rena Watson. You're running for Court of Common Pleas, but for someone who don't know you, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for getting me in here in Women's History Month. It's an honor, and a pleasure. And so I am Rena Watson, and I am a candidate for judge of the Court of Common Pleas. I am a lifelong Pittsburgher for many, many generations. I was born in Homewood. I was raised in the Hill. I graduated from Shenley, as did all of my siblings, as well as my daughter and most of my nieces and nephews. My dad's a bulldog, though. My dad was born and raised in Homewood and came out of the house. And actually, my older brother and sister also went to the house before we moved to the Hill. And they ended up graduating out of Shenley. And my daughter, so let me say I live with, because I brought my dad up. He's the Honorable J. Warren Watson. He is one of the first elected Black judges to Allegheny County. He was elected in 1965. He retired at the age of 80. He sat for nearly 40 years, and he's doing well. 3 years ago, my mom, actually his wife of 45 years, because my mom passed when I was 16 years old. But you get another mom, for 45 years of being together. That's my mom too. And when she passed 3 years ago, my dad says, "Well, what's going to happen to me?" I said, "Nothing, Dad. I got you." Yeah. And I meant that, like I got you. I don't care if anybody else ever got you. I got you. You took care of me, and I'm here to take care of you. Why wouldn't we take care of the people that took care of us?
Yeah.
And he's doing well. He's
I was just going to ask you, how's he doing? Yeah.
Girl, he just turned 98 years old back in February. And he, in addition to having been a judge, he also has played the horn his entire life. He has had a band since he was 15 years old. So he's still playing his horn. Last summer, when the pandemic started, he was having people come over once a week, and we had to shut down. And then when it got nice out and the governor kind of altered the social distancing guidelines, we were able to bring people out and let them come sit on the deck and play on the deck.
Oh, how nice.
He said he just likes providing an opportunity for his musician buddies and other musicians to be able to play. So, he's been asking me now, okay, it's getting nice out, when we're going to be able to get back on the deck. So that's what keeps him alive and keeps him, really enthused with life is music and his music friends. So we try to keep that going.
Wow.
Additionally, Terry, go ahead. Did you want to ask a question?
No. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was a single mom. I raised my daughter. I told you I was born in Homewood. I was raised in the Hill. Then I lived in Manchester as an adult for 12 years. And I raised my daughter as a single mom there. Then we bought a home over in the Hill District, and I still have my home, but I don't stay there because I'm staying up here with my dad in my childhood home. And my daughter is an adult now. She's doing very well. That must mean I did a good job as a single mother, So I'm proud to say that.
And you should be, and you should
yeah,
be.
thank you very much. I went to Howard University, as did honestly my birth mother, my older sister, who was Meredith Gay Watson. She was an artist. She was the wife of the mayor of Wilkinsburg for probably 8 years, Wilbert Young, and then my older brother Pete Watson. Many people know him. He helped a lot of people. He went to Howard, but then he went to the service in the Vietnam era. He kind of got hooked up with drugs and, the whole heroin thing back in that day. Did drugs for 30 years, broke my heart because, I just love my brother, and it just, it crushed me, you know what I mean? Yeah. But you learn to have to live with certain circumstances, and you can try your best to help and do what you can and be there for them. And then, after probably 18 retail convictions and in and out of drug treatment facilities all over the country, California, Virginia, wherever, he finally one day got it together. Yeah. And then every year he would call me on his anniversary date. Now, my older brother and sister, and they're both passed, they call me Lily, because that's what they called me as a kid. He would call me up on his anniversary day, say, Lily, it's my anniversary. I'm like, yay, and then we do our little celebration on the phone, because that was just a joy. And so he also went to Howard. Then I came and I went. And then my brother Rob, who's also an attorney, who also was a city magistrate and also sat on the bench for a short period of time. I said, come on down here. He had graduated CMU, and I was at Howard. I said, come on down here and go to Howard. You will love it, because I think all Black children should go to Black colleges and universities, because you learn excellence, you learn pride, you learn what it's like to be a Black person out here in this world. And you feel at home, and you see people all around you striving to be excellent, and at Howard's a place where you have people from every third world country. There were 700 Nigerians at Howard when I was there. 700. That's just the Nigerians. That didn't include the Ethiopians, the Ghanaians, the Liberians, the people from Jamaica, and it was a complete just third all world, over. The Black diaspora. Yeah, right. Yeah. Howard is called the Mecca, and there's a reason for that, because it's a Mecca for the Black diaspora, not just Blacks in this country, but Blacks all over the world. Now, back when I was there, people weren't talking about global things so much. I mean, we've become a very global world now, a very global economy. But Howard talked about the Black diaspora and the connection between all of the Blacks in the world, even back then. And I'll be honest, when I went there, when I was a kid, my dad, when Martin Luther King passed away, my dad drove me around. We were living in the Hill. My dad drove my brother and I down through the business district that had been completely burned and just ravaged through the riots and whatnot. And, we're looking at this, and he's telling us, and I'm reading Life magazine and Ebony magazine and looking at all the pictures of the riots and, our people being hosed down and, beaten and all of these things. And he looked at us and he said, you're intelligent, and it's going to be your responsibility to take care of your people, to take care of your community. And I believe in that moment, I didn't know it, but I think I was born at that moment to be a public servant, to be a social worker. And I've always felt the need to help, to help. Yeah. And as I got into high school, because at home I was listening to my dad talk about his cases. I was reading my mom's psychology textbooks and whatnot, because I just liked it. It was just interesting. And you got a dog.
I do. This is what she hears a van and she thinks it's my mom's AIDS, but it's not.
Yes. I have dogs. I have a dog too. I have a dog, and my dad has a dog. We love our puppies. And anyway, so I believe that I was born to be a social service worker in that moment and a public servant. When I got in high school, I remember one day we were outside of school. It was probably after a fire drill or something like that. And probably should have been back in school, but we weren't. A couple of girlfriends. There was a guy with us, and the police rolled up. And this is in the 60s, kind of like the Black Power era, you know.
Yeah.
And the police stopped, and he says, well, you know, why aren't you in school? We said, we were right out on, you know, we were right on center, so we weren't far. And we said, well, we're heading in school. And he looks at the guy and says, and you're contributing to the delinquency of these minors. And I have a big mouth. And I thought I knew a little bit about the law. And I said, he's not contributing to the delinquency of anyone, you know. And police picked me up, grabbed me by the seat of my pants, and threw me in the wagon. And I called him a few choice words because it was the Black Power era. And he was he was a black officer, you know. I don't even want to repeat what I called him, but you know, my friends knew my parents' number, so they called my dad. My mom was passed by this time. They called my dad, and so by the time he got me to the police station, the number 4 station down in Oakland, my dad was already calling down there because my friends had let them know, hey, Rena just got picked up by the police. So he came on down, you know, and my dad, he tells my dad, well, your daughter called me a bump, an Uncle Tom, bump. And my dad's looking like, okay. And so he asked me in front of the officer, do you want to, would you like to apologize or, you know, recant what you said? No, absolutely not. I meant every word I said, you know. And we walked on, and we walked out here, you know, I mean, I really hadn't done anything. And, but I thought I knew the law a little bit. I knew that I knew more than my friends and people around me. And consistently I was seeing people starting to get in more trouble. And so that was actually when I decided, you know what, I want to be a lawyer because I know I have more information about people's rights, and I need to share that information and help people. So that's kind of how I, you know, decided I was going to be a lawyer. And I went off to Howard and then came home. I actually waited for several years before I went back to law school after I had my daughter. And but you know, that started my trek. Coming back to Pittsburgh, I actually went to Howard with a thought that I wanted to go there, like, because I could have gone to Spelman, could have gone to Penn State, you know, some other schools. But I said, you know, I want to find out what's my role. What is my role in our community? What can I do? What am I to do? And so I thought, well, I'll go to Howard, not only because it's a black school, but it's in a city. You know, it's not a school off in the boonies somewhere. It's actually right in the situate of the center city of Washington, D.C., which was the chocolate city back in that day. And so, you know, that's kind of why I went there. And I certainly got a wealth of information. I don't know that I figured out exactly what I was to do, but I still knew that I was supposed to help and be a part of the solution.
And it seems this, so you have, because you touched, literally you touched half of Pittsburgh growing up. You know, you lived everywhere. So you're not, you know.
Always in the Black community.
Yeah. So it's something that you're very familiar with, and you're familiar with the struggles, the need, you know, so all of that comes with who you are, you know, right now and who you are today. And so I want to, you know, I also want to, you know, I hope that our listeners heard that, you know, from the very beginning of what you were started to tell us about yourself, you were always caring for someone else. You know, your brother, your dad, and you're still doing it today. And that's something that we should, you know, we have to look at, we have to make sure that we acknowledge who we are putting, you know, picking and choosing who we are putting in the bench and what their characters are. So I'm glad that you shared that story with us. Now, Rena, tell us why Court of Common Pleas? You have, your background is you can be and go anywhere. Why Court of Common Pleas?
Well, I'm going to tell you something my dad told me while he was on the bench, because I used to ask him as I got old enough to understand, you know, why don't you elevate to one of the appellate courts, you know, Superior Court, Commonwealth Court, Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Why don't you make that move? There we never have enough blacks on any of our courts. And he said, Rena, I like to hear trials, and so trial court is where you actually get to deal with the people that the trial is about. You don't do that on any appellate level. At the appellate level, you're hearing attorneys come in and argue what was wrong with the case at the trial court. And the people, you're not rehearing the facts of the case, and that's where you have more in an impact, where you get to touch the lives of the people, the litigants, the defendants that are in front of you, is in trial court, in common pleas court. And I was a city magistrate, and I certainly, as a magistrate, I had judges tell me, Rena, keep the crap down there. And I heard what they said. They told me, I took that to mean, if it's a minor sort of a case, don't send it up here. We don't even want to be bothered with that stuff. So there were things that I took jurisdiction over that some of my colleagues were not. They were hold for court. They held everything for court. But, I said, that's not my job. My job is to dispense with a lot of these cases and get rid of them. Number one, a lot of cases I'm also a I didn't tell you kind of like my legal background, and I guess you'll give me a chance to do that. But
absolutely,
I've been a mental health hearing officer for 26 years. So when I was a magistrate, I had already been a hearing officer probably for 5 years.
Okay.
So I recognized mental illness. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I could listen to somebody talking, and maybe in 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, I might know, this person probably has a little bit of mental illness. Honestly, because of, the circumstances with my brother, I recognize addiction. And I know that there's a need for treatment. I know a lot of mental health is now like everybody's, mental health, it's, it's really important. It was important 26 years ago to me, because I've been doing this for 26 years. Particularly in our community, we have liked to, kind of keep mental illness quiet, sweep it up under the carpet, not talk about it. And it's something that we need to talk about. We need we need treatment, we need facilities, more than what we have, and we need that in our court system. Particularly, we need to give people the opportunity, as I was saying, as a magistrate, instead of holding a case for court, I'd give somebody the opportunity to go get treatment, whether it was drug addiction treatment, alcohol treatment, mental health treatment, honestly, even treatment for domestic violence. Go get some help and then come back, and if you come back and we see that, hey, you're getting the help that you need, you're not still getting in trouble, because sometimes people are getting in trouble because of the help that they need, not necessarily because I just want to get in trouble.
Exactly.
Then you can come back and I can dismiss your case, throw it out, and you don't have to go up to big court, as we call it, and spend all the money, or not, trying to get an attorney, maybe end up with, jail time, probation time, but have a lot of stigmatisms that are a lot of unnecessary things in your life that maybe we can divert this by getting you some treatment and some help. And so I did that when I was in city court. If you don't mind, I'll briefly go through my experiences.
Please.
So I am a 29-year practicing attorney, and I've represented thousands of children, families, business owners, and people in the community in every division of the court. I represented hundreds and thousands of children in juvenile court. I love juvenile court. I represented kids both as a conflict counsel in dependency cases, those are CYF cases. I also represented kids in delinquency cases. And I was there for I would have 4 to 8 cases a day for several years, just be there all day, just hang out in juvenile court all day. Sometimes a couple times I was there till 7:30 and 10:30 at night. And
wow.
that's how long it takes to get those cases done sometimes, and you just got to wait and do it. But then when I became a magistrate, I didn't have the time to continue sitting in juvenile court all day, every day. I wasn't able to do that. But and also, Terry, I've been the person that people call me because somebody needs help and they don't really have money.
Yeah.
Call Rena, she'll help them.
Yeah.
Send them to Rena, she'll help them. And you have people that are just completely overwhelmed. Some older people, some single moms, some kids, that they're just overwhelmed with this whole court process. They're overwhelmed with life, and so I have worked to try to help people do the best we can to resolve what we could legally, but also help to guide them and get them onto the right track. And that's my life as a lawyer. I still lawyer. I help somebody every day. And now a lot of my cases are people who are doing what I'm doing, trying to take care of their parents and things like that. But aside from lawyering, I've been a lawyer 29 years, 26 of those years, Terry, I've been adjudicating cases as a judge of the minor judiciary. And I sat as judge of the Pittsburgh Magistrates Court. I heard 22,000 cases there. I've been it's a high volume case. It's a high volume court. I was a liquor control board hearing examiner for Western Pennsylvania and Erie. I was the first Black to simultaneously chair both the City Planning Commission and the Zoning Board of Adjustment for Pittsburgh for 8 years.
Okay.
Mayor O'Connor appointed me first. Mayor Ravenstall kept me on. And when the elected official that appoints you isn't there anymore and they leave, then they bring new people. I don't have a problem with that. I understand that. I've never had a problem with that. It's like, well, I replaced somebody, and now somebody's gonna replace me. That's just how it is with appointed positions. And I also was a Section 8 grievance hearing officer. That actually was the first hearing adjudication position that I had. And there was a woman, an attorney by the name of Jackie Gratian, and she called over to the Housing Authority. She was with Neighborhood Legal Services. She said, Rena Watson, she's the savior of the Housing Authority. I said, woo, girl. I ain't nobody's savior. I'll never claim that title. You know what I mean? We got one Lord and Savior. But I was of the mind to try to keep people in their housing and not get people kicked out. How can we work this out? And that's just what I believe in. Let's try to help people and not kick them out on the street. And then I've done these mental health hearings for 26 years. So that I have a lot of background with a lot of different.
That's what I was just going to say. This isn't something new to you. This is something that you can add on to. Because that was one of my questions was, what can you, from your background, how would you take that and take it to the bench? And I think you have said it several times. It's how to continue to help people, and even when you was as a magistrate, so you have stopped plenty prison to pipeline cases.
Absolutely. I will, if I could give you a couple of examples. When I was a magistrate, I had a case come in front of me, and it was a guy that looked like a hippie, and he came and he was probably in his 40s. I would say he was in his 40s, and he had a great big bag, way bigger than a gallon size a baggie, filled with marijuana, loosely packed. And the standard charge for that would be possession, but also possession with the intent to deliver because it was so much of it, because of the amount. And when I called the case and it came, the assistant district attorney and the defense attorney said, oh, well, we have a deal. We've worked out a deal. I said, oh, okay, great. And they said the deal was we're going to withdraw the intent to deliver, which is the charge that carries the heaviest penalty. Yep. And then they'll just proceed on the possession. I said, hey, by my standards, that's a great deal. Everybody thinks that's a great deal. And I signed off on that. A couple months down the road, the exact same case came, Terry, the exact same case. A big bag of marijuana, loosely packed. Only this time, it was a young Black man, probably in his 20s, and a Black attorney, but the attorney didn't really make a difference. I don't believe it made a difference. At least it didn't make a difference in what I was doing. And so I called the case, and I'm sitting there waiting for the district district attorney and the defense attorney to tell me about the deal they made, the same deal they made last time.
Yeah.
Because that's what's fair. I mean, if you're making that deal in that case, why wouldn't you be making it in this case, in my opinion? And no one started talking about a deal. And I said, well, I think I've waited long enough. And I decided not to even allow the case to proceed to the point of where I'm hearing it. I don't even want to hear it. I'm just telling, I looked at the district attorney. I said, Mr. District Attorney, you may not be happy with what I'm getting ready to do, but this case was in front of me a couple months ago, and you all made a deal. And the deal was get rid of the possession with the intent to deliver and allow them to proceed with the possession.
Yeah.
And so y'all haven't made a deal, but that's the deal I'm doing. And that's what I did. I threw out the possession with the intent to deliver and allowed them to proceed only on the possession. And because that's what's fair, and in my world, hey, I'm here to be fair. And I've heard some people say, well, she sounds like she's only fair to Black people. No, I'm fair to everybody. I would have done the same thing if it was somebody of the LGBTQI community. Same thing for a Muslim. Same thing. It didn't matter. Same for another person that's not of color.
And what you're saying is, when I hear you saying
fairness is good. It's about fairness, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in our system, the unfairness is usually meted out to persons of color or persons that are different. And fairness to me is everybody across the board. You get the same treatment. That's what's fair. I had another case, Terry, because you talked about the pipeline, and there was a Black man who had a home. And the narcotics agents had sat on the house. They had been investigating the house for a while. They saw enough traffic in and out of the home that they believed that there were drugs being trafficked out of the home. Yeah. And so case comes to court. And on this day, the evidence that they presented was 6 small bags of marijuana, individually wrapped. So just like the other, individually wrapped anything is considered possession with the intent to deliver, and then possession. So, I actually sat and listened to that whole case. They talked about sitting and watching, and what the day they went in, all they got were 6 bags of marijuana. And, at the end of the case, when it's time for me to make a decision, again, I looked at the officers and I knew them because they're in front of me all the time, and I said, hey, officers, I'm sorry, I know that you all have spent city time, city resources, your energy, doing what you do. But today, the day that you happen to go in there, all you got was 6 bags of marijuana. Yeah. We had just come out that whole legislation about small amount of marijuana, under 30 grams is considered. That had just come out. That was kind of new, and of course, this is way before any medical marijuana. So that's the other thing. And I said, I'm sorry, but this 6, even though it's bagged, this is under 30 grams of marijuana. Yeah. I am going to do what I do with an under 30 gram of marijuana case, which is convert it to a disorderly conduct and give them a $50 fine. And then, hey, bye, see you, come, and maybe you'll get more drugs the next time, but this time, and it's not your fault, but it's also not my fault. And I got to charge what I see in front of me. And, I could have held that for court, and they could go up to big court and have to deal with, possession with the intent to deliver. I don't know what would have happened up there. It might have depended on, what who the judge was or what their mindset was. They might have done the same thing I did, or maybe they decided, hey, this is a case we're going to actually allow it to proceed to trial, and the evidence is here. We're going to convict them. Nobody should have a conviction for that.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, all the conversations that we do have, that's everyone is saying the same thing, that to stop it from going to big court, and then having someone, one person, the person is the life is ruined, and then that person, the family, then from the family is the community. So, and I'm hoping that our listeners is hearing that is the chance that we have is to pick men and women that is aligned with building up our communities, not
Right.
continuing to destroy them, and pull them apart. So I'm so glad that you did share those examples with us. If you have more, we are here to listen.
Okay.
We are here to listen. But I do want to ask you. I do want to ask you. I want to talk about the common plea, where we are right now. And again, I apologize to you and our listeners that a lot of the questions that I'm asking have been asked multiple times, but you are the last candidate in this Women's Month of March. You are the last candidate running for Court of Common Pleas that will be here at the West Empowers Educational Community Civic Series. So I want to ask you, like I've asked others, how should the Court of Common Pleas view the Pitt study, and how can the Pitt on race here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Allegheny County, and how can the courts, the Court of Common Pleas, what should we expect from our judges to stand out and stand up against that report, that the racial equity report that was shared here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Allegheny County? Can you help us with that a little bit?
Sure. And it's not the first report. That particular report, if I know which one you're talking about, that report dealt with women and Black women and the complete inequity that has been meted out towards Black women for years, where we have not been able to get jobs. We're not getting equal jobs. We're not getting equal pay. We don't even have equal health, and I was actually surprised. I wasn't surprised because I really probably can look at my own life and say, wow, I've been subject to that. But I don't want to go into that. I try to live my life positively and keep moving forward. But I know that I've been subjected to some of that. But the other reality is that that's not the first study that has said that Pittsburgh is the worst city for Blacks. The Bang study, there were multiple Bang studies that said, Black contractors, black, everything, everybody Black has suffered, that Pittsburgh's like number 50 out of 50 cities on the worst. We're the worst. So that, to me, like in the court system, and even without thinking about that study, one of the things that I talked about that I felt needed to be changed is that, when you look especially at criminal and juvenile court, you got 60 to 70% of the persons who are coming there, whether it's the defendants or the delinquents or dependency, the dependent children and the families, that's a lot of people of color that are coming into this court. And, they don't see judges that look like them. They don't see the people, very few people that work there, because for the most part, the people that work there are the people that are on the staff of the judges. And including, to me, when you look at district attorney's office, the public defender's office, there should be more Blacks and more Black women, and, generally across the board. I think that as judges, and also the judges do have the ability, it's a rotating sort of situation, that when certain jobs become available, they rotate around to the judges and allow a judge to pick. But if you don't have that many Black judges, you're not getting that many picks. I think maybe they need to come up with a new system that allows, more even-handedly for Blacks to get a pool, get a pool of names of people that are looking to be hired, or people that you can call to find out, who's looking for a job, or go to our Black churches. I'm a member at Mount Airy. We got 10,000 people over there, and a lot of them need a job, and go to the Black churches, go to the various organizations, go to our schools, go to our colleges. And if we can't find anybody here, we can go to the Black colleges and recruit people to come here, and work for our court system. But I think that very clearly we should have people, you should see some more people. And honestly, people it should be a requirement that you have a good attitude, that you know how to treat people, because it really bothers me, and I don't care if it's a person of color or not, because sometimes we can have an attitude as well.
Yeah, yeah, let's be real.
You know,
Let's be real. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're going to work with people, particularly people that are coming through the court system, they already have a wealth of a burden sitting on their shoulder, and then they come and people treat them a little bit like they're dirt, you know, like they're different. You know, I mean, I've had attorneys say, "Oh no, I wouldn't represent those people." It's like, wow, really? You know,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
so it should be a requirement that you know how to deal with people, that you can, because you know, from the bench, I treat people with respect. I've always done that. And even you can't decide favorably for both sides when there's two sides in front of you, but you can still respect the person even though you're not deciding in their favor.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they too are people. Their families are people. We all have hard times and hard things going on, and you know, you can be kind without kind and respectful without having to be mean.
Yeah.
So I think that we need more African Americans, more women, and you know, more LG, more people of the gay community. We just need more different people. Everybody should get a chance to be hired.
So let me ask you this. Let's go back to your, because I've heard some amazing things about your father. I've heard some you know, and you have shared, you know, how he still want to give back and the joy of music to others. So tell us, give us 2 values that he have instilled in you that you will take to the bench.
Well, I will say that I actually, in my law school time, I got the opportunity. I started out as a probation officer. I had 200 cases, 200 charges on my case load, an adult probation officer. I'm running out in the community all over, you know, trying to find your clients and visit with them, and trying to help them mainstream, you know, back into the population, and not get, you know, not have a violation, and maybe a new conviction, you know, because when you have a probation, your judge can re-sentence you all over for the same crime, you know, and who wants that, you know, and your probation officer, I used to tell people, I said, I could be your best friend. Because if you come see me every month and do the stuff you're supposed to do, if you get in a little bit of trouble, I can at least say they came to see me every month. You know, they did everything that they were supposed to do. So, you know, there is a positive side. But, and it was funny because I even knew people, you know, that I knew from school that were on my caseload. But I, as a probation officer and a single mom, I was a full-time working single mother student. So I'm in law school full-time at night, every night. I'm working full-time in the day. I'm single parenting. Believe me, it was a task. It taught me that for real, anybody that really wants to do something can do it. But it was a grueling task. But being a probation officer was grueling, and I ended up feeling like, hey, I can't do both of these things. I can't do law school and be a probation officer and a single parent. And I told my dad, and so he was able to bring me down there and let me work with him. And it gave me a little, you know, I still had to work full time, but it also gave me the opportunity to see the court system in action. Because what you learn in law school is way different than what happens in court. And so I got to observe him as a judge, as well as, you know, learn all about the law, you know, and how to proceed, how you do cases, how you handle cases. So I learned a lot of things from him, but a couple of the things that really stick out is that I learned good judicial temperament and demeanor. My dad treated everybody with respect. He did not, he didn't belittle the people, the litigants. He didn't belittle the attorneys, even if the attorneys, you know, came in not knowing what they're doing, you know. He still made them feel good and made them look good, you know. And he taught me excellence and preparation. My dad prepared each and every night. He would look at the cases in the day, see what they were, pull out the case law, or maybe the law clerk would pull out the relevant case law, and then he'd go home and read every night. So when the attorneys came in and, you know, they're saying, well, Commonwealth versus so-and-so says this, he'd cite the citation. Oh, you're talking about case such and such. He already knew the case, you know, so he was ready. He was ready and prepared. And so he, you know, he taught me excellence in preparation. He taught me good judicial temperament and demeanor. And I think those are important factors.
Yeah. And that is, and I'm so glad that I asked you that and you shared that with us, because that makes other people feel important as well. You know, it doesn't, like you said, where the people are already coming into the court, you know, in front of the bench, feeling like the world is on their shoulders.
Yes.
And then when they're in front of, you know, someone that's sitting on the bench, the judge, giving them the respect, you know, that is deserving to every human being, that makes a big difference. That makes a big difference. So I'm so glad that you shared what you know your father has instilled into you that you can take to the bench. So thank you so much for that. Queenie, give me a minute. Sorry.
That's okay. And the beauty is also for me that I when I see people, some of them are my friends, you know, from high school and other people that know my dad, and they tell me, wow, your dad gave me a chance, you know. And I would have never known that they had been in any trouble, you know, I mean, because they're out working, raising a family, you know, our kids are friends. I never knew, you know, but they're telling me, oh no, I love your dad. Your dad gave me a chance. I could have been, you know, up the river, as they say, you know, and he said, your dad gave me a chance. And I've never known them to be anything but a working, you know, contributing member, a good working person, you know, I had a kid that I helped, and in the things that I've done, you don't get a lot of, I mean, people thank you, but you don't get a lot of, you know, it's a lot of social work type stuff. I'm a social working lawyer, and a lot of that is kind of thankless, you know. So you need to be able to find your thanks within, you know, spiritually. You got to get your own, but occasionally somebody does let you know, and I know I was at a baseball game, and a woman was serving me a hot dog or pizza or something. And she said, oh, Rena. I said, oh, hi, how you doing? And I didn't really know who she was, but she told me her name, and I still didn't know who she was. But then she started telling me why she knew me and how she knew me. And actually it was when I was a probation officer, she said, you helped me so much, and my family. And then I helped a kid when I was at magistrate's court. And one Christmas Eve, because I was always shopping. I'm always out shopping on Christmas Eve, especially when I was a single mother, running around, getting the last stuff. Some kids called and they said, Aunt Rena, check your porch. I'm like, what? I got home, and this was a young man that I'd helped. He was one of my house was the kid house. All the kids came to my house. They ate, they ate steaks and stuff. We had a good time. And the great thing about being, and they all call me Aunt Rena. There's a whole bunch of kids out here that call me Aunt Rena, and I love it. And I love every one of them. And I love them with my life. I'd give my life for any one of them. And it was one of these kids that, he had bought this wreath. He took my old ratty looking wreath off of my door. And when I came home, there was a beautiful handmade wreath on my door. It was blue, like some sort of metal with the holes all in it. I don't know what you call that metal. And then it had these white doves on it and some lights. It was like, wow, it just touched my heart. It's like, wow. And I helped him, and he had a little trouble, but hey, we got him out of it and got him on his way, and he went on his way and has a good life, and
good.
Every once in a while you just somebody actually does tell you thanks, but
and I'm sure you have, because you have been in the arena for many years. So I'm sure you have touched and shaped many lives. And again, I have to, because of this is you are the last common person, candidate running for the Court of Common Pleas. Again, this day before last of Women's Month. So what would you say to to someone that the importance of these 9 seats, what would you say to someone that, that may be saying, I don't vote in that election, or that election doesn't pertain to me, or, don't really vote unless it's the presidential election? What would you say to that person or people?
Well, I mean, clearly a presidential election is a very important election.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the election that gets all of the notice by the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that every other election where you're electing your local people, those are really the ones that are important to us.
Yeah.
And if you're not picking who's going to run your city, sit on the bench for you, be the district judge for you, be your city council person, if you're not picking them, somebody else is.
Yes. Yeah.
And we should, to me, and I've said this probably for 30 years, as Black people, not only should we vote in every election, and of course, we know our ancestors died so that we could vote, and that's not important to a lot of people, but it really is important. We should vote in every election to honor the people that got us to vote, because we didn't used to be able to vote.
Yeah.
And if they have their way, we won't be able. I mean, there's folks out there trying to take our voting powers away every day, every election. Which they're doing it right now down in Georgia, and it's happening all over. And they did it here. They tried to make it so we had to show our IDs. That's people trying to restrict us and keep us from voting. And who are they trying to keep from voting?
Yeah.
Us.
Yeah.
And they don't want our vote.
Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad you said that, because I say there's 2 things that I say. One is, if our vote wasn't so powerful, they would not be trying to take it away. Mm-hmm. That's number 1. And number 2 is, when we don't vote, we just voted. You just voted.
Exactly. That is a vote. You're exactly right. Yep. And so not only is it important for us to vote every election, but for real, we should have a Black person or a different person that's with us in each and every office for each and every election running. Yeah. But I've been saying that for 30 years. I'm happy to see that there's people that are actually
coming. I think it's slowly brewing. I think it's slowly brewing, and you can tell by the conversations that Pittsburgh is getting kind of nervous of the actions that is brewing. I think that we are majority or of the city, even allies, like you talked of the LGBTQI community, our white allies, our Asian allies, our Muslim allies. I think that everyone is understanding the importance of how local elections affect our lives 365 days.
And
so
Miss Terry,
go ahead.
We're all in this together.
Yeah.
I think sometimes things start out almost, the tension is so great between different factions, that they're, this one's trying to just come up a little bit and get noticed. This one has a stronghold, so they're trying to hang on to what they have, and they're afraid. Much like, well, I won't even go there. I was gonna give you another example, but I'll leave I'll leave that one alone. But at some point, it kind of starts to come together, and you get a blending of both, and because we are all in this together. I mean, we're either going to thrive together, or we're going to fail and die together.
I strongly believe you in that, because I go to I'm a member of White Lily Baptist Church, and I'm gonna tell you, the conversation
over in Sheridan.
Yeah, Chartiers, yeah.
Yes,
that's
the
where
Allens are. I've been there. The Allens go there.
Yes,
I've been there before with the Allen family, Bob Allen and Cheryl Allen.
Okay, yeah. Our pastor, Bob Allen, lives like catty corner now. Catty corner too. So I go there, and actually one of my one of my church sisters called me the other day and to ask me a question of, what's going on. One of the questions was about Georgia and, the water and, just the foolishness that's going on right now in Georgia. So I totally agree with you. The conversation is being, I think we're getting there. I think the conversation is being more. I think that people are recognizing and realizing that if we do not step up, nothing changes if nothing changes.
Right. And you asked specifically about the judicial election.
Yeah.
There are 9 seats.
I wanted to ask you, so before now, not to cut you off, but can you tell us the importance of what is in front of us right now with these 9 seats?
Well, I think that there's about 42 judges of the Court of Common Pleas. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, just do the math. 9 is, what?
25%.
Yeah, that's a major change. I mean, usually you're electing 2, maybe 4. Yeah. Every once in a while, you might get 6. Now, what I can tell you is that we've never elected 2 Blacks in any one election. And we ourselves have always said, oh, we can only have 1. Like, well, why do we think like that?
Yeah.
I don't get it. And, honestly, hey, there's 9 seats. There's still some of us that think we can only have 1. Come on.
Yeah.
There's 60 to 70% of our people going through the system. Why don't we have more Black judges?
Yeah. And,
so this is a chance.
Yeah. This is our chance.
Yes.
And it's our chance that, I'm not going to mention any of the judges that I grew up with, and that, people in my age era or older or younger, that we can say, well, Judge such and such was mean and he did this and he did that. He sentenced us unfair and blah, blah, blah. We literally right now have a chance to pick our men and women that are the people coming behind us, our family, our friends, our neighbors, our communities don't have to go through what majority of us went through growing up, from ourselves or our family or our neighbors or our community, So I'm hoping that, everyone is hearing you and hearing the importance of what is going on right now with these 9 seats, 25% of the courts. And that, again, has not happened since the early 70s and probably won't happen again in my lifetime, so So I want to thank you for that. Now, my next question to you is, did you want to say something? Was you going to say something?
No, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. My next question to you is, tell us something about yourself that very few people know about. Maybe just your close family, a couple of friends that you are proud of, but you don't brag about it. And only very few people know.
Mm-hmm. Boy, now that's honestly kind of stumping me. I mean, my honest biggest pride, and I know that people think that, hey, you're a lawyer. I mean, I'm a lawyer. I've held some very exemplary positions. I'm not even sure what the word is. I've been honored to hold quite a few appointments that, that's really nice. Just getting a law degree, and being an attorney, those are awesome type things. But for real, all of that's just fluff.
Yeah.
For me, my most important thing in my life and the best thing I've ever done is my daughter. And I lived my life for my daughter. I don't want to tell some of her business, but you struggle as a parent, to try to get your child you want your children, and I want this for every child. The kids in juvenile court, I want it for every child, that you can be successful.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying you got to be a genius child or you got to be, a gifted child, but you need to be able to, and you don't even all have to go to college, but you need to be able to come out and be productive and to find whatever it is that you're good at and to be able to do what you want to do. And, I saw at one point, I started worrying like, oh, is my kid going to be able to get in college? If she gets in, can she get out? And what do I do? And you struggle with that as a parent, particularly as a single parent. I watch parents, it helped me understand when I'm dealing with the parents of the kids I'm representing in juvenile court. How can I help you? I can give you guidance. Sometimes, sometimes monetary issues might keep people from being able to help their kids the way they want to, but we do the best we can. I know even in and I think too that it's a proud thing for me that every child that I represented in juvenile court, I could have done my case and say, okay, nice to meet you, see you later, have a good life. No, I took my time, Terry, with each child and each family, spent at least an hour, but probably 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours over the course of our representation time. And I took time to talk to the children, to talk to their parents. I told each kid, this world is designed for you to fail. This world is designed for you to be on drugs, in jail, or dead. And right now, because you are in juvenile court, you're kind of working into playing, you're kind of already wrapped up in their system. But the reality is that you can get out of this. This is a moment in time. You can decide, number one, you have to make a decision that you want to do something different. Whatever that is. And then you have to make a choice of every moment of every day, because stuff's going to come at you, especially when you're a teenager. A lot of things are going to come at you that you got to make a decision. Hey, am I going to go do that, or am I going to have the strength to walk away? And peer pressure is a monster. I like having fun. And cool kids aren't the nerdy kids. And I was a cool. I was one of the cool kids in high school. I sat at the back lunch table. I played some. I used to beat everybody in blackjack and take their money. And I probably shouldn't say that, huh?
Hey, we're all friends here. We're all friends.
We are. We are. And so that too is my daughter's the most proud thing that I've done. But also, as I said, I want for every child what I want for my own. I want them to become, productive and to find what they love doing. And my daughter, she didn't end up going to college, and she'll tell anybody today, I know my mom wants me to go back and finish school. But you know what? My daughter is successful doing what she's doing. She loves what she's doing. And college isn't for everybody, and yes, you can be very successful and not go to school. So, I took my time working with the kids, every one of them, and have spoken, been asked to speak at groups, schools, whether it's grade school, middle school, high school, college, and those are proud moments for me, because it gives me an opportunity to share my story, and one of the things that I like to make sure that kids know is that it's okay to fail. Because kids don't always know that. They think, I'm in this path of failure, so that's going to be my life. No, I remember my mom, it was really my dad's wife. She told me that my principal failed out of college. And I was like, what? Principal. He failed out of college, but look at him. He's a principal. It helped me. It helped me to know that, hey, everybody's life isn't a straight and narrow path. Everybody's path isn't one of perfection. We make mistakes. We go off this way, veer off that way. But, given the opportunity, you can bring it back together and you can go on to do even greater things, So that's a proud moment to be able to share that type of experience with children and help them to grow.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Because we get to know, a little bit more about, how that is your greatest achievement is your daughter. So, and I love asking that question because it gives us, we just get to know a little bit more. But let me ask you this. So for the Court of Common Pleas, for this Court of Common Pleas judge seat, why you? Why you? What do you bring to the bench?
Well, first of all, Terry, and I don't mean to say this with any level of conceit, because I'm not. I'm the least conceited person you'll ever meet, and I don't think I'm better than anybody. I have experience. I have a wealth of experience already adjudicating cases. You say, why common pleas? Because everything that goes in magistrate's court goes to common pleas court. That's criminal cases, child sex assault cases, domestic violence cases, dog court, housing court, traffic court, DUIs. Every one of those proceeds to common pleas court. Zoning cases and city planning cases. Well, yes, and if you appeal them, they used to always, when I was there, they went to Judge James. He heard all of those cases. So somebody has to be able to hear those cases, and you don't have a lot of people that have a lot of experience that are on the bench with those types of cases. Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board cases, those actually, when they're appealed, they go to the Commonwealth Court. So I wouldn't hear those, but it's good to have familiarity with that area of the law, because sometimes they kind of like cross over and commingle when you're doing different zoning type things. And mental health, the mental health experience, is not that those cases come to court, but they do, because the first appeal does come to common pleas court. But it's also the experience, the life experience, the experience in terms of these doing cases, adjudicating cases. I know how to conduct a hearing. I do it very well. I'm very good at it. And when I was a magistrate, I didn't ask to be a judge. I didn't want to be a judge. Somebody appointed me to sit as a judge. And twice, at the housing authority, I was just given the responsibility. The mental health came next, and I happened to see a judge in a hallway, and he says, "Hey, I was thinking maybe you want to be a mental health hearing officer." I'm like, "Huh? What?" For me, it was like, wow, that combines both my degree in psychology and my degree in law. Wow. I couldn't have put that together myself any better, And when I was doing that, I in both circumstances, I found out that, wow, you like doing this. And guess what? and you do a good job. And I liked it so much that it made me seek out to be a city magistrate. Tom Murphy was the mayor at the time, and he told me, he said I had 120 letters and people calling him or tapping him on the shoulder on the street, giving me a reference. And he said I had people from, I had grassroots people, business people, people on foundations and boards, and everybody in between. He said, you've had more people that are supporting you for this position than I've ever had before.
Wow. And
when I took that job, and say on a Friday, what I like to call Friday, not just me, it was called Friday Afternoons Zoo in city court. And so all the cases that were arraigned the Friday before were coming in on Friday, and it was like a zoo. It was like, woo, you're looking out like, wow, there's like I don't know how many people it was, looked like 300 or more people out there to me, milling around, police officers, defendants, witnesses, family members, everybody. And the defense attorneys are wanting to pull the wool over your eyes, hoping they can get something because you don't know something. The DAs are doing their thing, and I looked, and it was like, it could be overwhelming, but one day I just felt this light, and it was like, wow, I love my job. I love doing what I'm doing, and not only did I love it, but I was good at it. You do it well. I was with an attorney this past weekend. I went to a rally to do door knocking and canvassing, and in fact with Unite, and one of the attorneys there, I'm not going to name him, but and he's not the only one that said, he told his people, he said, when I first started as an attorney, she was sitting on the bench as magistrate. He said, she was my favorite judge. I said, that's really nice of you to say that. I said, hey, I just tried to be fair. He said, no, you didn't try to be fair. You were fair. And there's other police officers that were in my court that are running they've said the same thing. It's people that have been in my courtroom, honestly, even people that maybe didn't win their case, but they'll say, well, you know what? She was fair. She listened, she listened.
And
she was fair about it,
That means so much. That means, because when somebody walks out of the courtroom, and like you said, whatever the outcome, once the person, go down the steps or get on the elevator or on their way home and realize that, we, or they were treated fair, that says so much, and so,
And we have a right to that. We not only have a right to being treated fairly, we have a right to have our case to have a full and fair opportunity to present your case. That means the judge is supposed to listen. A lot of judges like to, they want to roll through it and get it done and be done, but you got to listen. You got to let people have their opportunity.
And like you said, you have shared with us, and it's only been a little time of a history of what your knowledge and your background is. And that's only a little of what you have shared with us right now, so go ahead.
So I was just going to finish, because I didn't really finish answering your question. I probably veered off and talked about something else, but so I'm very prepared. I have a wealth of experience. I'm ready to take the bench right now. I don't have to ramp up and learn a whole lot. Everybody has to learn something on a new job, but the ramp up for me is going to be a lot less than the ramp up for some people that don't have a lot of experience. But probably more importantly, I have life experience, my experience with the mental health, my experience with drugs and alcohol. I know, I understand the circumstances that people, have. I have, nieces and nephews that are gay, that's experience as well. We love them just like we love anybody else in our family, so, some people talk about, it's a hot topic now. I'm going to be fair. They're like, and maybe they will be, they might actually come out and be fair. But with me, I'm tried and true. You already know what you're getting, because I've been doing it for 26 years. And so I'm fair. Wow. I'm prepared. I have the experience. And so I think I'm the person.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now let me ask you this. So, and I like that, tried and true. So let me ask you this. So if someone wanted to have a conversation with you, or, about something that we may have touched on, and or they may have some questions for you that they have on their own, or they may even want to volunteer on your campaign. How can someone get in touch with you?
My cell phone number is 412-965-7388. 7388. Can you still see me? Oh, yes. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
My screen went dark. I didn't know if you could hear me or see me. And I know that my campaign team and, some other people that helped me, I know they just probably cringed at the fact that, I'm giving out my number. But first of all, I'm a lawyer. Lawyers, people have to have my number. You can't reach me if you don't have my number. So I don't have a problem with that. Also, I have a campaign website where you can sign up to volunteer. I believe you can reach me, reach my team through that, and they certainly will relay anything to me. My website is my name, Rhenna Watson, WRENNAWATSON.com. People have been, honestly, I'm not really the biggest. I'm on Facebook. I don't really get on, you can get sucked into Facebook and be on there for hours. It's just too much. And so I tend to not get on there. You pop on, they like, and then get off, it's like, I gotta get off. I don't want to get sucked in and be on there for hours. And, but people have been doing that DM thing. I used to never do that, but I actually have been, those little heads pop up on your screen. So I've actually been, responding to people that way as well. And, I do my best, but call me, text me. I love text. I don't do voicemail. I hate voicemail. Hey, you can sit and listen to voicemail for a half an hour, and it's like, really, this is just too much.
No, listen, because that reminds me of my phone used to say, my message would be like, sorry, I missed your call. Do not leave a message. I am not going to listen to it.
And they still filled
Please
your
call
message
me back.
box, and your box would still be filled up,
And
wouldn't
then,
it?
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And then a good friend of
Girl.
mine was like, you gotta take that off. Don't put
Yeah.
keep that on it. But yeah, so I can relate. I can
Yeah.
and or long Texas.
Yeah.
The words
Right.
don't mention. I
I'm
can't.
guilty of that.
Yeah, I can't. It's too long. It's too long.
Yeah. My daughter fusses at me about the long text. She does. I can be a long texter, yeah.
So listen,
But I'd rather you text me than try to leave me a message. So
well, they have it. They have it. We're going to wrap up. Is there anything that you would like to say before we wrap up this afternoon?
well, I want to say thank you to you, and thank you for the time. Thank you for the opportunity. This was just delightful. I really enjoyed being with you and spending this time with you. And hey, everybody out there in, where are we, in Facebook land, podcast land?
Yeah.
I love y'all. I love you. I love everybody. You know, I really do. And I need your vote. I need your support. I could use your help on my campaign. You know, come on out and help us. We could use some help. We got, I believe it's like 50 days. I think it's 50 days left to the election, but also, you know, this is one of those different elections like last year where we have mail-in ballots. So some people are going to be getting their ballots early. So it's not even really 50 days, you know, and
Right.
So we got to hit it hard and, you know, work this to win. We're in this
Right.
to win it.
Right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Rena Watson running for Court of Common Pleas judge. She left her phone number if you have any questions or would like to carry on the conversation with her. She also have opened the door for volunteers to help her on her campaign. If you have any
and make a donation.
Yeah, and make the donation. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Rena Watson running for Common Court of Pleas judge. She is our last candidate that will be on the Educational Community Civic Series here at West End for the judicial seats. Next month, we will be coming with the school board. So again, thank you, Rena, for spending your afternoon with us. We look to bring you back.
Yes.
Hopefully we will be bringing you back with a congratulations, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much. God bless you. Love you.
You too. Love you.